Hello, friends. Welcome to a brand new episode of Clustered Nuts. And this month we'll be looking at identity. And the beauty of identity is that we all have a way we are seen, even in the eyes of the world. And the truth remains that, irrespective of how important these things seem to other people, it has an effect on our personal lives. It has an effect on we ourselves. And I'll be discussing this topic with a friend of mine. And I think he's probably the longest friend, the longest serving friend I have, because I've known him for over 20 years. And even those days when we were still rolling tires and all. So I believe times have passed, and we've all been here at this point in time. And I believe there are a lot of things that must have shaping our identities to who we are right now. Can you welcome with me today, John?
Thank you so much. It's also a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. And can you please introduce yourself a bit? I don't want to just step with that. So can you introduce yourself a bit?
Okay, well, my name is John, and I'm a pharmacist. I I think I should just I think that's just what is most important for you to know about me for now.
Okay.
Just as they said, we've been friends for quite a while, quite a long while actually. So, and also to put it out there, our parents are also friends. So, just for people to understand the context of the friendship, it's not today.
Yeah.
So,
they were working at the same, and I think for our dads, they are still working at the same place at the moment. So,
yeah.
So it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, really.
It's very nice. I think I was having a discussion not quite long, and something came up. I felt like where I am today is as a result of a lot of things. And one thing I will mention quickly is that seeing myself now, I could say that the school I attended helped in some way. Though I wasn't happy attending those schools, I attended a government school back in Nigeria, and it wasn't an interesting thing. And I could remember being sad when my junior siblings are going to the boarding school that they were at that point in time. But looking back now, I really appreciate those moments, because I could say that they've shaped me to be a better person. And let me just quickly give an example. Okay. There was a time I was called out to be the class rep, and with some other people, like a teacher pointed at us, and he said we should give a talk. I was scared to the bone that I was literally shaking. So a colleague of mine, I can never forget the guy, Shola, stood up and asked, "Why are you shaking?" It was so visible, and I said, "Oh, it was a bit cold. I was feeling cold, just to put it on something." That was the reason. Of course, your class rep should not be found shaking, especially someone looking out for that position. But I could say that, though I'm still building myself, but all this has attributed to something important in my life, because being the class representative of 50 students at that point, I've actually helped in life. So the reason for sharing this is that I know that there are several experiences that must have had impact in our lives generally. And are there such experiences, and can you just share with us briefly how some experiences have shaped your identity?
Well, first of all, I did not know you were a class captain at any point during your
I've
school.
always been, though.
During
I
your
was one in
sojourn.
GSS.
Because I as a person, I could never have been a class captain in my school. The person that was the class captain in my school was from GS1 to SS3, so we really had no chance. Actually, I also believe that school of thought that experiences in life will shape our identity, and uh, for me as well, I can also, a starting point can also be my secondary school days. We often used to um, do presentation in front of the class, so that helped me to build my confidence in public speaking. um, Even though it's not 100%, but right now it's something that I can do without much anxiety. On like when I started, you have to stare down, you have to stare at the eyes of your classmates, you actually have to make sense. So it built me in a way that I could give presentations, I could prepare for my presentations and deliver well. So that is one example. And my experiences together when I was studying in Nigeria too, I think it built me in many ways. It gave me grit, studying under conditions that are not so palatable. And when you get to a better environment, when things are more palatable, you can function well. So these are just the few things that comes to mind when it comes to experiences that has shaped my identity. um
And
yeah.
and I believe you were in some speaking competitions during your bachelor's degree, even outside Nigeria.
Yes, I not speaking competition per se, but I definitely was. I
Spelling
represented
bees.
my department few times. Like also during the college, we had college competitions, and yeah, I was also a participant.
So
But
obviously
yeah,
those days, okay.
yeah, it also played a role in who I am today. Definitely,
Yeah.
it
Even
increased
what I'm
my
saying is
confidence.
those days in your secondary school must have even helped, or high school must have
Yes,
helped.
significantly.
Okay.
Honestly, it really helped. It really helped. The way we were giving presentation, or the way I was giving presentation, was really shocking to most of my classmates, because they were still reading from the book. But we at long
Mm.
length, when you give a presentation, the better is when you don't look into your book, into your notes. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I was much more advanced in presentation compared to my classmates. So it definitely helped me.
Mm. And I feel, what part of you would you say you were so intentional about when it comes to shaping your identity, choosing who you are? Because the whole world will see you in different lights,
Yes.
and you continue to just get better as time goes on. So, and there are times you are intentional in just being who you are. There are times you just want to read books on self development. There are times you just want to put yourself. So, what part of your identity were you so intentional about?
Well, uh, I don't know the right way to answer that question, because
Mm.
um, I I always try to improve myself in all ramifications. But I think the part of me that I intentionally worked on has been my social life.
Mm.
I am an introvert, definitely, and
Mm-hmm.
m- mixing with people was difficult. But then I learned to socialize. I learned
Yeah.
more social skills, or social cues. I understood, oh, when people are beckoning to you this way, they want you to talk, they want you to share. It was not
Mm.
something I was used to doing
Used to.
freely. But yeah, you know, studying outside the country enabled me to mix with people, and also there was not this bias of, someone knowing you and instantly berating you, or instantly, you are not being judged. You
Mm.
literally have a new plate, or new plates before you, that you can impress people with. There's
Mm.
um there's nobody that has an a prior knowledge of you, how you behave or how you interact. So I had the chance to improve my social life, social
Mm,
skills. So that's
mm,
part of one of the things that I think I intentionally worked on to make myself more outspoken than I
mm,
was.
mm,
Yeah.
mm,
So,
mm. So
and
you
what
were so
helped me,
intentional about this.
yeah,
Okay.
I was intentional. And what helped me again was my friends, my classmates, because they were not judgmental. They were accepting me for who I am. They give you the chance to make a
Yeah.
mistake and, to learn from the mistakes. So it really helped
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah. And something that is so common these days is there are situations whereby you enter a room and
Yeah.
then there is this false judgmental look or maybe false things people say about you. Have there been any situation, of course, it's not necessary that there must have been, but have there been any situation that some people have maybe a wrong assumption of you when it comes to few things?
Wow.
You know,
Yeah, definitely. I can't even recount many situations in which I felt like that. But, part of shaping your identity is be for you to understand who you are as a person and just stick to that
mm,
belief and not really allow um, people to people to people can make up their opinions, but you have the
mm,
luxury of allowing yourself to be who you are and prove to them that they are not what they think you to be. For example, when I first started my bachelor's degree in the country I studied, the people had a
mm,
negative perception about blacks. They had a negative perception about people, and
mm,
um, when they saw me in that light of someone, a black person being a bully, a black person being wicked and mean to others, and they
mm.
did not want to associate with me. In fact, when you talk to some of them, out of that fear, they will stand up and leave.
Oh,
It was that worse. But later on, humans are still very smart. They started observing that, oh, this person, I think, and then they start to talk gradually till they became comfortable talking to me. So that was one of the initial problem that I overcame. Yeah, eventually.
and of course, there are a lot of misconceptions out there. Even some of these people here too, they think sometimes like Africa is just a country, and you have anyone
Yeah,
that looks black. They're all
yeah.
from the
Some of
same
them
place.
even make derogatory remarks, and yeah, I had that experience whereby some people cover their noses and have that assumption that you are smelling or you are not
Hmm,
well groomed. Yeah,
hmm, hmm.
by the
And
fact that you are black, not just because
hmm, hmm, hmm.
not because they know about your personal hygiene, but this
Yeah,
they attach dirt um to black
black.
to the
Yeah.
black color. So, but over time, I was able to overcome all those things too.
Of course, I think there is still more we still have to talk on that line, most likely, because I've been to restaurants and you will see that the picture of blacks they have there is not the
Yeah.
best representative of the black. They are not really
Yes.
showing island on in Lagos, Nigeria.
Yeah.
The picture you will see there will be the
Hot.
trenches.
Yeah.
Yeah, those rugged
Basically,
areas.
they take us back to the trenches.
And you imagine like there are places like that even
Yeah.
in a
Everywhere,
lot of developed world. Yeah,
everywhere.
so
There are slums in everywhere.
those slums. So, and I think that's really the problem these days. So, how is it so easy to now stay original without losing one's value? Because there are a lot of ways people try to see you, and you want to play along.
Yeah.
Because these days you are so careful of your accent even when you are here.
Yeah.
I'm even talking
Yeah.
about people outside Nigeria, or let's say as an introvert too,
Yeah.
even anywhere you are, an extrovert might be the life of the party, will enter the room
Yeah,
and people
yeah,
likes the person,
yeah.
and you like that thing that you're seeing, and you just want to be like that. So, and forgetting that this is just who you are. So how can we stay original even irrespective of things going around?
Well, that question is difficult to answer, but it's honestly difficult because um, let's be frank, people's assumption of you can affect you. It just depends on the relationship in which you share with that person, and it's easy to cast a blind eye when the person doesn't really matter to you in the scheme of things. But for people, but when you're in a place that those people, their opinions, their assumptions of you matters, it's extremely difficult to manage. For example, if you are going for an interview and the person has a negative perception or opinion about you or about a black person or someone that resembles you, you are bound to be affected by their decision. But if it's just a random stranger that that has an opinion of you, you might never mind. You might say things like never mind, just leave him. So
it's not so important.
yeah. So I don't think there's a right and wrong way to it. I mean, to managing it or to approaching it, it's just circumstantial. Yeah.
So there are times you just have to present yourself in some way.
Yeah, there are sometimes you have to, and it's much more difficult for introverts because during those times that that you have to prove yourself, you have to talk, you have to, break the barrier if given the chance in a non-violent manner, definitely. But speaking up is always difficult for introverts. But I think it's something we have to learn, to speak up for yourself, because that's just the way the world is. They want to see your actions. So, for example, like, let me just buttress this. When I was in school as well, I had a very problematic classmate like that. At one point, he disrespected me so much. He just said something that was so off the line. Initially, I wanted to, just let it go. But I knew that letting it go would mean the recurrence of the situation. So I spoke up to him, harshly, strongly. And one way or the other, I got the message that this person is not someone you can ride over. I've also had the professor that was making smirking remarks about us. Like, at one point, I just, stood up in class like, "Excuse me, sir. I don't think, that also ended it all." So we have different tolerance level, definitely, for bullshit, if I may say. So it's easy for an extrovert to just speak up, but for introverts, I understand it might be a bit difficult. But I think speaking up really helps. It makes people know that it gives you the chance to correct the wrong notions or impressions of your identity that some other people have. So that's it.
And one thing I'm not looking one thing I'm looking at from that point is, of course, you need to stand up. You need to present yourself in some way, and of course, people see you, and they don't see your heart most times.
Yeah.
They see what you're saying. They
Yes.
see what you're communicating and everything.
Yes.
But there are situations whereby you're trying to present yourself that way or putting yourself out there, and you know that it's more of you trying to the
And
point
not you being original.
You lose yourself, and there are points in time whereby you miss the former you. Like, a natural introvert just want to be somewhere, just not to be disturbed, but you're trying so hard to just meet up with people's expectations that you even lose your value. And I've seen situations whereby that might even lead to depression, because even if you're not getting the same response that you were expecting because of what you're doing, it affects. So what I'm thinking is, now, we can never take away that part of you improving yourself, you becoming better.
Truly.
But what are your thoughts on improving on yourself? How do you improve yourself without losing your identity, or you yourself without losing you?
Well, that question is still difficult for me to answer because, just as I said earlier, it's easy to fall into that ditch of, going out so much out of your core self, core nature, going really out of your personality. And I can only say maybe my own coping technique is I often
Yeah.
meditate. When I feel uneasy about some things, or I just sit down and just meditate. I look for that quiet space, that quiet spot where it is just me with my thoughts, and I can properly assess, you know, um, where I've gone wrong. Because definitely, if you listen to yourself, if you know yourself very well, you will know when you've gone wrong. You might not know the exact moment, but when you do some form of meditations and pondering, you will discover that, oh, I think this is really not what I want to be doing. And once you have that clarity, I think it's easier to, not lose yourself to the moment of depression. So I just think for introverts like me, and maybe not all introverts, but for me, what has always worked for me, that has not led me to, being depressed, is by just meditating on myself, meditating on what do you want. Like sometimes I do write, like on my iPhone, I do write notes. Sometimes, let's not lie, that's life, we will feel like we've lost ourselves. But when you meditate, it helps you to realign back what are your core values, what are the things that you want in life, if it's worth sacrificing for, and even why you are going through what you are going through. Because if you have a reason why you are going through the things you are going through, maybe you might have a better understanding and have a better reaction to it. So that is what I always do for myself. I don't know what any other person can do that would give them relief, but from a personal standpoint, that's what I do.
I think that's even a great point looking at it, because it's so important to know yourself. Like
Yeah.
meditate, think about what you want for yourself.
Yes.
There is a need to improve on some things, but how do I even make these improvements without losing myself? So think about it. What are my core values? Am I really doing this because people really
Yes.
want me to do it, or
Yes.
I'm doing it just to improve myself, just to
Yes.
change things about me, which is really important. Every point in time, don't say this is just me. I can't change too, because
Of
there are a lot of
course.
things that will go when you don't work on yourself.
Truly, truly. And one thing I should stress also is the importance of the things you are doing. Because when you know the importance, when you know the reason you are doing things, like it might give you the extra motivation to pull through or to just quit. And quitting may be for the best if it's a behavior that is not going to help you, trying to please others that are not appreciating that identity you're trying to put on, or not really appreciating the sacrifice you're trying to put out there for them. So quitting can be positive, but also negative if maybe it's worth pursuing after. I mean, for example, if you're in a relationship with someone you really like, and it's worth sacrificing for them, definitely, even though it feels convenient, but knowing the reasons helps to justify why you are engaging yourself in that form of sacrifice. So
So I think that settles it all. Like you have to understand, know the reason why you're doing it. Don't just do it because that's what people expect. Because once they do not accept that, it affects you. Or understand that, is this worth doing? If it's worth doing, then push it through.
yeah.
So, and the final one that I want us to talk about, which is a trending thing for me. And
Okay.
for me too, I'm still trying to look for a balance when it comes to this. Because, as we've said earlier, you cannot totally take away the position of, did I say acceptance or acceptability too?
Yeah.
Because the way you present yourself is also important, and the
Very
way they see
important.
you is important. I
Yes.
think we've said that over and over again. But I feel, from my own perspective, I feel people misuse this a lot these days, and that's the effect of social media on
Okay.
identity. So I notice you see everyone just trying to post even almost every little thing, and I don't have a right or wrong answer to this. This is just my view on it, and it gets to a point whereby if they are not accepted, it's so easy to fall into that depression mode because uh, some people are just going there for that acceptance.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I
So,
think I
what's
have
your view on
an.
this social media thing?
Oh, I think, um, yeah, just as you said, there's no right and wrong view about it, but I think everybody that just listens to this podcast should just be truthful to themselves. Yeah, because the reason why you are posting on social media is for what? Is it to gain acceptance from people or validation from people? If it's to gain validation from people, I think you need to ask yourself deeper questions. Because social media validation is a fluke. It really is a fluke. The people that validate it today, tomorrow they can remove that validation with immediate alacrity. So I don't think it's something that is substantial enough for anyone to seek for. But also it's crucial for people that, they want to have a social media image, like media personalities.
Exactly.
So they have to their social media presence or image is very important because it's key to their source of livelihood. So it's a different old ball game for them. But for people that like us, I think just take social media with a pinch of salt. That's just what I can say. Don't seek for validation on it. Post your pictures, do your thing, just be yourself, but know that they are not the people that matters the most in the grand sphere of things, or in the grand scheme of things. For me, my friends are the people whose opinions they matter to an extent, and I'm saying to an extent because you yourself are the one that can tell yourself the truth, because you have ample of information more than your friend does. Yeah. So yes, but in terms of relevance, social media is not something I would advise anyone to seek validation from, or seek acceptance from, or try to conform themselves to please a certain set of people that don't even know or want you to be pleasing them. So in relation to identity, I don't think anyone needs to alter their identity to suit people, if I may say, in context of social media. And no one should really put pressure on themselves trying to please strangers, basically. So I don't know if I've said it well.
Yeah, I
but
think
that's my
even
opinion
no
on
one
it.
no one should put pressure on themselves to
Yeah.
suit strangers go a long way for me, because the truth is, even with this social media, which is really normal, most people don't even put the worst of the worst out there. It is when you're doing pretty well, when you just got a car and
It's an
everything.
illusion, basically.
Yeah, and
Yes.
if I'm in there trying to do the same thing because some people are doing it, eventually I lose myself and it might be so depressing.
Yeah, if I may buttress this, there was one time I looked at LinkedIn. I was looking at, in my mind I was like, now so everybody take this successful for this life. Which kind life wey me I come? Maybe from my mama, yeah, she wey say I also come out from. When I now looked carefully, I scrutinized the career path of some of the people that I envied. I saw that it took time. I saw it took time. It
Yeah.
was not something immediate. And even for the ones that were immediate, I just did not try to compare myself to them. I saw from the people that I could relate with. So I think also with social media, it's one way of helping yourself by just looking at the people in which their dreams are much achievable, if I may say. I don't want to be misunderstood, but then just to seek to build confidence from the people that you can achieve this, not from some intangible things, because obviously people still do lie on social media, and if you have believed those lie who can sink her, then you've not done yourself a bit of good. So that's
Because I believe, of course, there needs to be a balance to it. Just like you mentioned, you took time to even check, okay, this thing took maybe a bit for this person. But not everyone will, because I have never even thought of, okay, checking, even what's the timeline of this.
I do check.
Looking at those things happening, because sometimes those things can also be a form of motivation.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For example, the problem that most of our generation wants is that we are seeking the rewards of the success of what someone has worked 10 years for. We are seeking for it now that we've not done anything. But when you put into perspective that these people have done something for this considerable amount of time, then it's just basically an adequate reward for them to be enjoying what they're enjoying now. And just give yourself time. I know it's not easy to believe, especially when you're in your down moments, but it's just the truth. Like, just take a study of the people. You will see that at some point they studied. It took them time. They worked hard before they started reaping the reward. So let's just give ourselves some time and grace, and also work hard and see with a bit of luck that success will come our way, and not just use those unrealistic yardstick as our own measure of success.
That's the truth. Don't beat yourself up.
Yes.
Because of that. And one thing I've noticed, though, there are a few of them online too, where people post times where maybe things have not worked so well. Well, it's so scarce. Don't you think we should also have some of that too? That too can serve as a form of encouragement.
Where people have failed, if you mean.
Yeah.
I'm posting about their failures. Yeah. But I don't think I want to post about my failures. Because it's not so comfortable. It's not so comfortable. Let's be honest.
And you're even judged with that.
Yes. Yes. And for people that are comfortable with it, yes, if they want to put it out there, yes, no problem. But for now, maybe when I've
had the success.
When I've had a radical success, I can be like, oh yeah, let me tell you my story and write an autobiography. But for now, let's just keep it rolling, please.
Of course, that's true. Well, as you said, just give yourself this ample time, believing that things will come true. And just, I think you've said a lot already. I don't know if you have any final thoughts for people that are still trying to find themselves, like they are just going through that thing, and maybe it's not even looking like, oh, this is me, or this is this. Like,
well.
There are situations whereby you see inferior people and people that seems inferior in their own eyes, and they're still trying to figure out things. Like, what would you say to people like that?
Well, the truth is, not the truth. Yeah, my own opinion is that when it comes to finding oneself, people throw that word around loosely, and I think the best way for you to find yourself is to do something. I mean, just keep trying new things, because it's in that midst of things that you discover your likes, what you dislike, what you are comfortable with, what you are not comfortable with. But that also comes with time, because you cannot try everything all at once. It takes time. When you try this one, oh, so I think it's from the wealth of information that you have that you can now say, oh, this is me. And even the this is me, I think it still evolves for all of us. We still get to know a part of our personalities that we've not so much known before, because we've not been in a situation that exposes that trait in us. For example, you would know if you have a good social nature, if you go out more and you find out that you enjoy it. Yeah, someone that travels a lot would definitely discover he loves traveling by traveling more. So it's just basically to try new things. Like, just tell yourself, what else have I not tried? I think in the midst of trying this, trying that, you would gain better information or more information about yourself, and be able to say, oh, this is what I enjoy doing, this is what I don't enjoy. And yes, maybe to also read, to also read more about books, read more books, to just educate themselves about their personality, probably, and see that you are not the only one in the world to feel this way. So I think that's few things I can say about discovering yourself. It's always a gradual nature, and nobody should put pressure on themselves to say, oh, I want to discover myself. Even by solitude, you would not really know much. I would not lie to you. By some people can say, oh, just go to the beach and just think. I don't think it's going to work that way, just by solitude, just by meditation, or knowing or discovering who you are. I think it's more about gathering information from the ample activities you've engaged in, and from those things, to say, oh, these are the things I enjoyed. I enjoyed dancing, I enjoyed listening to music, I enjoyed traveling solo, I enjoyed driving in the night, I enjoyed scuba, skydiving, whatever. So from those wealth of experience, you can know, oh, this is who I am. I'm an extrovert, I'm an introvert, I enjoy this, I enjoy that, I don't like working at night. Yeah. So
And some of even the identity we put out there sometimes might even be because of the lack of one thing or the other. Maybe lack of knowledge, or lack of financial capacity.
Yeah, that
When
finance
you
is a
have
huge
that,
thing, because me, I want to travel the whole world.
when you have that big money now,
Yeah,
you just see that
yeah.
you've changed totally.
Yeah, that's when you discover your taste in music or wine, and you be like, oh,
a lot of
wow,
things
I love this
change.
wine. But you've never tried it before, so you did not know, because you've never had that opportunity. So, and I think identity can change as well, based on information available to you, based on the knowledge and your understanding. So it's not a static thing, it's more dynamic, in my own opinion.
Yeah. And I believe from what we said earlier, it's more like all your experiences are even part of it. You might not notice some of those subtle things that has changed over time, but the identity generally is not just who you become at once. Like, this person is this. It's just the accumulation of your experiences as you go, evolving you to becoming a better person. So as you've said, it's all about working on yourself. Continue, if it's reading, doing more things, just exploring life. It's not necessarily you sitting down there and being sorrowful that things are not going on. You'll be so amazed about a lot of multitude of opportunities that can come your way, even if you just try and try to do things, just act on some things. So thanks a lot, John, for doing this.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It was really fun having this with you.
Yeah, I also enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really nice. And thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate all the effort, even time that it took for you to have listened this much, if you did. And please, guys, just share it with a friend, subscribe, and follow. And I believe we'll see you next week when we share another episode on this same topic. Thank you. Have a blessed weekend.